Hi everyone, my name is Mike. Welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to go over 3 simple exercises that are designed to help reduce your hip pain quickly and effectively. These exercises are great if you have arthritis or if you just have a sore hip and are looking for quick relief. Now, with hip pain, and especially with arthritis, it's important to get the joint moving and then to strengthen it so that we don't get the root cause of the pain coming back over time. And the hip is made out of 4 different parts that we really should be targeting every time we do exercises. We have the front of the hip, the back of the hip, the outside of the hip, and the inside of the hip. All of these components have different muscles and contributions that are important to the overall function of the hip. Now, all these parts with their different muscles, if they're not working properly, eventually they're going to start to cause the other muscles in another part of the hip to work harder than they need to, and often this is what causes pain. So with these exercises, we're going to first work on pain relief, and then at the end, I'll give you a strengthening exercise that will help all of these parts of your hip work together effectively so that you can have pain relief for the long term. Now, before we get started, here's a quick disclaimer. Now for this first exercise, we're going to target hip adduction on the inside of our painful hip. This is where the inside muscles of our hip focus on bringing the hip from the outside of our body or from out back to the middle or the inside of our body. So we're going to lie on our side, the painful hip down on the table, and we can support our head while we're doing this with our free hand. Then we're going to cross our other leg over and put our foot flat on the floor, just like you see here in the video. From there, the exercise is we are going to lift up the bottom leg towards the ceiling, and this should activate the inner part of our hip joint. So while we're doing this, we can make sure that we're focusing on only really moving the painful leg, and we don't want to necessarily cheat by using the top leg to push up in any way. We want to make sure that all the movement is coming only from that bottom leg. So we can do this anywhere from 8 to 10 times or until you get tired, and then we can take a break. We want to make sure that we're also breathing throughout this entire exercise, so make sure you don't hold your breath. Now, if this felt good, you felt some relief, and you want to do something even more challenging, we can move that bottom leg just a little bit further out, kind of diagonally. We can move it past where the top leg was. That's totally fine. We can just rest the top leg on the other side there. And then what we're going to do is we are going to do the exercise at different diagonal points. So we can pretend even if the first point was, say, 6 o'clock on the clock face, now we're going to move to 4 o'clock and then 3 o'clock. And then if we can get all the way to 3 o'clock, that's 90 degrees. That's a pretty good place to be. That's a very difficult exercise. Now, while we're doing this, we want to make sure that we're not doing any movements that are causing the pain to come back. This goes for this exercise as well as the rest of the ones we'll talk about. We only ever want to do the exercise to the point of where we start to feel our original pain coming back. Basically, if you start to feel that pain, that's your signal that you can ease off and relax. Only go up to that point again, and then ease off. Okay? We never want to push through the pain while we're doing this. All right, so once we've done it 8 to 10 times, we are going to go to the second exercise. Great job. All right, so for this one, we are going to focus on the front part of our hips, or the anterior region. And for this, we want to go on all fours and make sure our back is straight when we're doing that. Then we want to spread our knees slightly wider than where they were before. And from there, we are going to rock back into kind of a seated position, but on all fours. All right. We're going to go as far back as we can, and we're just going to hold that for 8 to 10 seconds before releasing. And then once we come out of that stretch, we come back to the center. We then want to go forward as far as we can where we feel a stretch. It should be relieving, but obviously don't push any further past the point of what's comfortable. All right, and so once we're at that front point, we can hold it for anywhere from 8 to 10 seconds, and then we'll come back out of it and go back to the sitting back stretch that we just did. And we can do each of these 3 to 5 times, and then we can move forward into the next stretch. All right, so for this third exercise, we are going to activate and stretch the outer part of our hip. We've done the front or the anterior part, and we've done the inner part, all right? So now we're going to do the outside part. We want to lie on the non-painful side, so the painful side is up this time. From here, we want to then bend our knees slightly. We can kind of bring them closer to our chest. Then we want to take our finger and we want to find our hip bone first, then kind of draw a line up to our hip waistband. Okay, so these are two separate parts. Then we're gonna find kind of the middle of those two areas, and there's a muscle in there, and that is known as the gluteus medius muscle. This is a very important muscle for this motion, and often it causes some pain if it gets tight. We can also make sure that we feel this muscle working while we're doing the exercise. And so from here, we are going to slowly raise our top leg until we can't really go any further. Then once we hit that point or we hit some pain, then we want to come right back down to the starting position. And we can do this movement 8 to 10 times. Make sure that we're doing it nice and slow and controlled, always remembering to breathe. And if after you do 8 to 10 of these, if this feels really easy and you would like more of a challenge, we can do the same thing as we did with the inner thigh exercise or the inner hip exercise. We can move our legs diagonally, okay? So kind of like on the face of a clock, and we can go different angles and do it in that way. And that's gonna work different parts of the hip muscles in that area. Now, if you feel like you need something a little bit easier than the first part that I showed you, what we can do is we can bend our knees and do both of them with just the bent knee, all right? And then from there, we can just slowly open our hips. Instead of having our legs straight and lifting our whole leg, we're really then just moving kind of at the bent knees component. So as you can see, both of our knees are bent and we're just opening and closing kind of like a book. And so if you find that the straight leg version is difficult, we can kind of go backwards and start in a little bit easier position and do this 8 to 10 times. And if you can do this one, maybe over time you can graduate to the straight leg version of this exercise. All right, great job. So now we're going to go to the bonus exercise that I mentioned, which is the strengthening of our core. Now, before we get started, you may be wondering, why do I need to activate my core? Why do we need to strengthen this part of our body? My hips are hurting. It's because if our core is weak, they're directly integrated with the muscles of the hip. And so if the core is not working as hard or as strong as it is designed to, then the rest of the muscles in the hips and pelvis compensate. And that's ultimately where we get pain. So for this exercise, we're going to lie on our back. We are going to have one foot planted on the ground with our knee bent, as you can see. So then we're going to take our one hand and the opposite leg, and we are going to slowly reach our hand back, as you see in the video. And then we are going to slowly bend and straighten our leg out until we can't go any further. Then once we feel like we're at our end limit, we are going to slowly and in a controlled manner bring our arm and our knee back to the center, just like you see here. We are then going to switch arms and legs and do it on the opposite side. For this one, we can do 5 repetitions each arm and leg, so 10 total, and then we can take a break. Now, a more difficult version of this exercise, if this feels too easy or doesn't really feel like it's working too much, is we can have all of our arms and legs in the air, especially our knees bent at a 90-degree angle. And then while we're doing the movements with our arm and our leg, the other arm and leg are staying in a position that is holding in the air, like you see here. So the difficulty with this is that we want to make sure that our arms and legs are moving and our core is activating in a controlled manner. And this gets increasingly difficult the more that you do it. All right, great job. So those are all the exercises and stretches I have for today. So hopefully you found these exercises useful. If you want to see more exercise videos like this to help you strengthen and reduce your hip pain, I've got this video here on the screen where we go over some key strengthening exercises for our lower body that are especially good for adults over the age of 50 who are maybe dealing with arthritis or other joint-related pain. If you want to learn more about what I do and you really enjoyed this exercise video, I've got a free group linked in the description where you can come join other over 50 active adults that are working towards improving their joint health. We have nutrition guides, exclusive exercise videos, and it's a whole lot of fun. So I hope to see you in our community. All right, hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and remember to always stay moving. Thanks.